Okay, before we get on to quadratic functions, which would be the next progression, we're going to take a little bit of a detour. We're like driving to LA, stopping at Baker and taking a picture in front of the world's tallest thermometer. I know you're excited. I know. I can sense it. Then I don't know why this section is here, to be honest. We're going to talk throughout the course about algebra. Now, this is college algebra, and the question is, do you know what an algebra is? Now, you can just Google it, find the wiki page for exams. It gets rather technical. But from a basic point of view, it's a fairly straightforward idea, okay? And we just want to emphasize that. It's applying the rules to the game. So what you need for an algebra, now real numbers are just like everything. So they're way over the top with everything you need. But you need a set of objects, right? They can be real numbers, complex numbers, functions in this case, matrices. So you need objects. They're like the pieces of your game, your chess pieces, right? They're the pieces you're playing with. And then you need some rules, right? So I gave you the chess pieces, and you need to know how they operate. What are the rules of the game? And that's essentially what an algebra is. Now again, real numbers are very special, and so you have tons of things, so it's hard to separate out what you're talking about. But for example, with complex numbers or functions or matrices, you don't have so many choices. What I need at a minimum is you have to tell me how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. That's what I need. Tell me the object you're talking about, and tell me how I add those objects, subtract, multiply, and divide. So I play in checkers. They're red and whatever, black ones, and they can go this way or that way. That's it. I just need the basics. That's what it is. Like I said, real numbers, you have all sorts of because there's a lot of things you can do with real numbers that you just can't do for anything else. So in this case, the objects are going to be functions, and I got to tell you how to add. So my new function is called f plus g. I could have called it h, I could call it happy face, I could call it, Phil the cat sitting here. I'm just going to call it f of g so you know that I was given f and g and how I'm adding them. So I add them like using this rule, and we'll do examples. I can subtract. I can scalar, I can multiply, right? But there's two ways of multiplying. This one on the right here, this is composition of functions. And that's not just hard. That's important. So I need one or the other way of operating for the algebra. One way or another of multiplying and dividing. And of course, provided you can divide. And we'll do examples. We'll just go through it. Okay, this is what's coming out of this section, this example and the next one. Let's just start with fixed numbers. So notice I give you two functions. Take any two functions you want. You see them in the homework, take any two functions, nobody cares. Just two functions. Now notice I only gave you the rule, right? So I only gave you the rule. It implies there's actually a whole function there. The domain is real numbers. Right? I mean, this is all implied. I'm not saying you need to make a meal out of it, but you should be aware. I'm just giving you the rules. It applies everywhere. All right? So let's look at the first one. The new function is called f plus g. That's its name. Right? Its name is f plus g. And I want to evaluate this function at 2. So this is the move. I made a move. How do I do it? How do I operate? How do I carry out this move? Right? Well, here's the rule, right? We have to use definitions. This is the rule. Just cut and paste it, right? X is a box. Wherever there's an X, plug in a 2. Here's my rule. That's the rule, right, that I want, right? Wherever there's an X, X is a box. I'm just going to stick a 2. I mean, it really doesn't have to be this hard. Now, what do I do with f of 2? Just figure it out. There's a rule here. Just go on the side of your page, plug in 2 where there's an X, and get a number out of it. I mean, people make this all complicated. They embed this in the other. It's a number. F of 2 is a number. When you calculate that number, come over here and pop it in. Now, that's it. Go to g of 2. Right? That has its own rule. Come over here, that's the rule. Put in a 2 for x, put it in the box. Calculate its value. Pop, plug it in. Done. I mean, really, it doesn't have to be that harder. Try the other ones, B, C, D, E. Give it a shot. Pause the video, try it, and then I'll do it. If you're have an issue, that's fine. We'll talk about it, but give it a shot. Okay, let's try minus. It's going to be exactly the same thing. Pick the rule that applies. These are your choices. These are the way the pieces move. Okay, that's the rule. I want the minus rule. So everywhere there's an x, I plug in a 2. Right? X is 2. 2 goes in the box. X is the name of the box. So there's a 2, 2. Now what's f of 2? Just the same way we did before. Plug in the 2. I'm sure I just copied these slides. Plug in the 2, and it's 0. Go to G2, G of 2. Go to its rule. Calculate G of 2. Done. Plug it in. Now it's just, right, real numbers. 0 minus 2 is minus 2. How about the multiplication? Same thing. Again, same thing. Work smarter, not harder, right? Find a way of doing it and just get the problems done. So there's my rule. Again, x is 2. X is the box. 2 goes in the box. So everywhere there's an x, just cut and paste, replace 2. Calculate f of 2, same way as before, right? F of 2 is 0. G of 2, same way as before. G of 2 is 2. 0 times 2 is 0. Now, composition may give you heartburn, but try it. If you haven't tried it, give it a shot. Okay, give it a shot. Just go through it. Okay, here's the rule that applies, right? Just don't stress about it. Just see where the train goes. Everywhere there's an x, I'm going to put a 2, right? Right, everywhere there's an x, I'm going to put a 2. All right, now if you look at this expression, do the easiest thing you can. Don't stress. G2, right? G of 2, we did this a couple of times. Just go to a rule, figure out G of 2, and plug it in there. Now how about f of 2? Well, we did that already. So, well, I think we did some, yeah, well, go to the rule, plug in 2, and there you have it. Okay, again, don't work too hard. Don't overthink it. Just go with it. And then division, you should do. It's the same as all the others. Only thing is you have to be careful you're not dividing by 0, right? So you just, again, same exact steps. I'm just going to go through this quickly here. Right, we calculated f of 2. Right, 0, I think. Yeah, G of 2 then is, we just go to its rule. Oh, 4, that's a typo. Oh, it got sloppy, right? It should be a 4. Okay, it's a typo. It's a 4. 0 divided by 4. But the answer is still 0. My mistake. Typo. 0 divided by 4. All right, so if you're listening with the volume off, yeah, I'm playing macho head games. All right. Now, this one is different. What I have is, instead of at a number, I have it at x, f of gx. So we're trying to come up with the rule. Where, again, notice f is really a function. G is a function, right? A set and a rule. All right. So the difference here is that it's x. It's not a 2. But we're going to do the same thing as much as possible. Look, pick the correct rule that works, right? So if I want f of g of x, that's the rule. You say, well, okay, now where do I go? Just trust the process. How about f of x? Do you know what f of x is? I'm just saying, is there anything you can put in there for f of x? Anything on this page that looks like f of x? Yeah, right? Just plug it right in there. Before we plugged in a number. Now we're dealing with rules. So, okay, I plug in, instead of the number, I plug in the rule. How about g of x? Anything on the page that makes you think of g of x? Anything there? Just plug it in. And now you have to, okay, this is algebra. Just, you clean it up a little bit. Okay, try the other ones. See if you can do them. Pause the video and see if you can do it. Maybe composition will give you some heartburn, but hopefully not. Okay, let me try again. Mine is, again, that's my rule. You don't have a choice, right? Again, it's inevitable. These are the rules of the game. There's no sense saying what happened in nuclear physics. No, it's right here. Just pick the rule that works, plug it in, pick the rule for f, plug that in. Again, it doesn't matter what the functions are. And homework give you different, who cares? Different functions. How about g? take its rule, plug it in there, and then you just have to clean up the algebra. I didn't put in all the steps, but multiplication, it'll be the same, which rule applies. Right, there's your rule. Plug in your F, plug in your G, right? And then if you again, we'll pay more attention to this later when the problems get more involved. It's just algebra, right? All right. Now composition may give you trouble, but again, if you just follow the steps and don't overthink it, I think you'll be fine, I hope. Here's the rule. Again, I'm not questioning. That's the rule. There's no sense arguing how a knight moves in chess, right? I don't know. It moves like it moves. That's the rule. Now, you got to start somewhere. How about what we did before? Start on the inner one. So that goes in there. Now, remember, what goes between the brackets? That's a box, right? That's a box. So look, when you write this, this is why I did emphasize that. You mean this, right? That's why I want you to think like this. Right? And also for later, too. I mean, that's why I wanted you to think like this. So if x plus 2 goes in that box, just put x plus 2 in the box over here. Right? Don't stress. Just plug it in the box. Multiply it all out. Square, yada, yada, yada. I didn't put in the steps there, but multiply it all out. And there it is. Okay? How about division? Look, I have the wrong one lit up there, see, but I'm doing division. Okay, here it is. Just plug in the rule. That's my F. That's my G. And you can write it like that too. I mean, that's fine. I mean, they mean the same thing. And then, you can see, you could simplify this. Again, it depends on the problem, right? It depends on the problem. And again, when you cancel things, be careful. Canceling means it's one. The two terms, they don't cancel. They turn to one and disappear like that, right? All right. So there we are. There's Algebra of Functions section. So what should you be able to do? I give you two functions, right? You can, and say I give you a number. You should be able to take their sum, their difference, the product, the composition, and the division of those two functions, either at a number or at a value x. Like the problems we just did. That's it. That's what's in this section. Okay? So, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I'm trying to be very, very precise about what we're talking about and what my expectations are for you. Okay? So if there are any questions, let me know. And otherwise, good luck with the problems.